What is crack-a-lackin'? It's time to wonder, especially if you're down under, at some of the deals we can pick up whilst on the used PC market right here. And you'll notice in the boot already we have 6 RTX 3070s, and these are the Aorus Master Editions. Now this came in from a guy who was selling all the rest of his crypto rig, and he also had a GTX 1660. Now, we got these for 350 Australian dollars a pop, as well as this 1660 here for 120. So all up, that made it 2,220 Aussie dollars. I'll also, of course, put that USD pricing up on the screen for y'all. And with that aside, it's now time to turn to your missus and ask her, did you say this? And she says, baby, it's 3 a.m. and it's the end of the month and I need to use PC parts out from Tech City. I mean, I don't know if she said those exact words. I hope she did to you. But if not, then I'm sure she will plug this sponsor spot right to you from today's video sponsor.
Never pay full price for Windows 10 or 11 again. With today's video sponsor, SCD Keys, you can get activated for as little as $15 using that coupon BFTYC. Links in the description below.
So those cards are all done and dusted. They came in the boxes and they looked like they were in really good condition. The guy I also bought them off has tested them all out. He showed me them working. So I got nothing to worry about there. But in terms of other deals, we had a RX 5700 XT, which was up for sale for 200 Aussie dollars. I offered him 150 Aussie dollars. Now I'm in the area where they are and I'm trying to pick it up, and then they said, oh, I can't find it, because I did ask them sternly, look, are you sure this thing's working 100%? And I kind of was, a little bit firm with that. So now suddenly they can't find the GPU anymore. So I think I avoided a bit of a hose job there. But with that aside, what I'm gonna do now is I put out so many different offers on PC parts. I'm gonna wait for some of them to come back to me. But in the meantime, I'm gonna catch up with my good old buddy Les, because he called me and he said, look, I've got some stuff for you. And when he does that, usually it means that there's some juicy PC parts ready to be picked up. So let's get that underway and then see what comes back. So now we just finished up at Les's with all the bargains as usual, but this time I think even got better than I'm used to. And that's because this is the first time I've actually picked up a GTX 1060 6GB system from Les. So he charged me about $120 Aussie for that whole system, which is pretty good because I usually pick up a 1060 for maybe around 100-ish Aussie dollars. And that's, for me, I'm happy with that. Actually, more than happy, because I've now got a whole system there. But then we had 6 power supplies here too, and 3 of them were tested and working, and then 3 of them he wasn't sure about, but I basically negotiated with him for that for 50 Aussie dollars. Then we had 2 monitors back there. He wanted to really sell me these 2 monitors, so even though I have a lot of monitors, I still took them because I just like to take whatever Les wants to offload me. And it's sort of like I guess when you're dealing with someone in bulk, it's kind of like a code of conduct. You just take really some of the stuff that, even if you don't need it, you just take it anyway. And then he had an i7 2600K rig. He wanted to get rid of this. We negotiated on a pretty good price for about 60 Aussie dollars. And then he had 4 OEM Dell systems. One of them has an i7 4790 there, and he discounted it for us. In that 125 is generally what he would sell it for to the public. Because I'm buying bulk, he does give me a bit of a discount there. And then we have 3 other i5 systems which I'm going to return to Les with the i5s and the power supplies because I don't need them, and I'll be putting in i7s and some new RAM. So all up, that ended up being 500 even. So we negotiated 500 Aussie even on that, which I think it's an absolute bargain. But right now we're just around the corner here, and we are going to go inside and pick up a deal that I was actually meant to pick up months ago, but the guy finally got back to me and said that he he was available now, and I was available now, and I'm like, okay, it was just around the corner from Les's, so I'm gonna go in and see what he's got. Well, actually, I already know what he's got, which is an i7 2600K motherboard and DDR3 memory. I was actually looking for this for one of the earlier Flip Up Challenge episodes, but he just never got back to me in that time frame. And then he got back to me, and then I missed him for a month, he missed us, and then we're finally catching up now, and I'm getting this deal, which is 80 Aussie dollars. But he also said he's clearing out the house because the missus wants all the other stuff gone. So I'm hoping we can get some really good extras thrown in. So we've now got the third deal in the kitty, and my car is like completely full almost. And you guys know Tech Yes protocol. We ask for more. We always ask, have you got anything more? And in this case, we didn't just get a little bit more, we got a lot more. So the initial deal was the i7 2600K, 16 gigabytes of DDR3 memory, a Zeus motherboard. We organized 80 Aussie dollars on that. But then when I went inside, he's like, look man, cleaning out the house, and it's like 5 cases that we've loaded up now. He was just getting rid of 5 cases, so I was like, I'll take them. And then there was also a 1080 Ti as well as a GTX 980 Ti. And I said, how much do you want for those? And he said, well, 300, but I'll do them for 250 cash. And I'm like, yep, let's chuck those in. So it was a complete cleanup of just older used parts. Sure, like a 980 Ti is not that desirable anymore, but you can still put that in a Fortnite gaming PC and it is gonna do well. And then some of these cases, they're gonna actually come out really well, I think, after I clean them, maybe add in a 4-pack of RGB fans. But all this for 330 Aussie dollars. I'll throw it up on the screen. I'm actually flabbergasted. That's the word, that's the word I'm gonna use right now, because they even threw in 3 beers. I had 2 already, and I got 1 for a roadie. So we got 3 beers thrown in on top as well. And in Australia, you're allowed to drive, guys, so before someone panics, if you got an open license, you're allowed to drive after 2 beers still. That's still fine, as long as you're under 0.05. Anyway, guys, in that time, we've organized another deal here on Marketplace, 1050 Ti. They put it up for 100 Aussie dollars. I put in an offer of 70. They said, look, someone else is coming at 70. You give us 5 more bucks and you can come and get it. So 1050 Ti, 75 Aussie dollars. Let's go check out if it's any good. So we just picked up this 1050 Ti, and this ended up actually looking okay. It's an Asus model. The person that sold it to me, they were actually a chick, and they said, look, they're upgrading their card. This works 100% fine. And so, yeah, that hopefully is going to be a decent deal. I mean, 1050 Ti's, they sell in low-end bangers day in, day out, and just like the 1066 gigabytes, they're still on my radar. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get back to the Tech Yes studio. But I'm going to see on the way back, because I've got a little bit of a drive now, because I ended up slowly driving further away from the studio each and every deal. So we got a bit of a drive back, say around 50 minutes. So in that time, hopefully there's some deals closer to home that pop up. I did message one guy about a motherboard, and he got back to me. I'm just trying to find out if it works or not and what actual motherboard it is. And if they come back and say, look, it's say a Z490 or something like that, I'll actually take it, and that's actually close to home. So I'm hoping I'll get that one. So we now just picked up the final deal of the night, and this is the Lenovo Z490 motherboard. It's actually ironic because I just did a video on Lenovo about their downfall versus the used PC market. And it's just ironic because I've never picked up a Lenovo motherboard, or actually anything sort of Lenovo on its own, just in terms of a piece, especially like this. But this one's got an 8-pin, 24-pin, so it looks like it came out of a gaming PC where they actually used enthusiast parts, because this motherboard doesn't look too bad. So the guy ended up saying he wanted 50 Aussie dollars for it. I just said, well, what CPU did it have? And he said it had an i7 10700. So I know straight away it's most likely a Z490. And it also had a 256 gigabyte SSD. So for 40 Aussie dollars, I'm pretty happy right now. And when I got there, I did do the whole, like, does this thing work? I'm not getting hosed. And he was adamant that it was working fine. So I'm pretty okay about this deal. I guess the Lenovo is the Lenovo yes tonight. So here we are now back at the Tech Yes studio. We have unloaded and we've got the 4 OEMs down here. I left the monitors upstairs, but we got now 10 GPUs just on the table here, plus that extra GPU on the PC from Les. And then when we got that i7-2600K, these are all the cases that we got thrown in with it as well. The one in particular that I really like is the Air 540. That's really cool. But overall, guys, I'm gonna have to check this stuff out in the morning. It's getting pretty late. I've had dinner and all that stuff. I'm just ready to drop out. I'll wake up early and I can start just getting in and just testing out all the GPUs quickly. They may be wondering what these two boards are as well. I got given these as a gift with the GPUs in the i7-2600K. The person said, look, they don't work. They've tried to get them working. They had two boards that were gone on them. And I just said, well, like, I'll take them. I don't really want to pay any money for them. They said, just take them. So we got two boards there that I'll probably just try and put in the Can Yes Fix It pile for another episode. But ultimately, like, so far, I came into this thinking, oh yeah, I'll just get a couple of deals here and there. It won't be too busy of a month. And it's just like, I get to the first deal. It's like, yeah, you want all these 3070s? I'm like, yeah. And then get to Les's and he's just like pumping me full of parts. And then there's all these extra GPUs after the deal after that. And even this like 10th gen board, I just thought that was a pretty solid deal. So pretty happy right now. But of course, when we wake up, we're not just going to test all the parts out, make sure that they're all working, we didn't get hosed. We're just going to check what is crack-a-lacking as well. Just do a little check. See if there's any more deals that come up. Because some of the guys got back to me and they didn't want to accept my offers, and some people never got back to me too. So maybe they'll get back to me by tomorrow morning. Who knows? Let's find out. It is now the next day, waking up fresh. We have all the GPUs on the table. They are all tested. Everything works except with the 3070s. All these 3070s, they do need new thermal paste. And the way you can tell is just the temperatures are going up pretty quick. The temperature change itself is really, sometimes it's really drastic. And then of course the last piece of the puzzle was the back plates are just getting relatively warm, but the temperatures are going up to like 80 degrees. So all these 3070s will need a repaste, but all these other GPUs here, they're actually really good in terms of temps and everything else. So shout out to the old school 900 series WindForce as well. I think Gigabyte did a really good job on those 900 series cards and their WindForce edition. Just absolutely loved it. So that's all the good news. Everything basically works here. Even this 2600K and the Asus motherboard posting absolutely fine. Everything is working except this Lenovo motherboard. I tried it out before. It's just not booting up at all. It's, I mean, I messaged the guy, so I was confused. I didn't know if it was one of two things. I don't know if you needed a special proprietary power switch that came included on the original case, or if it's just a matter of just, you know, hooking up a power switch to a different set of pins and turning it on. And so I messaged the guy, I said, hey mate, this motherboard doesn't boot up. Do you have the original case for it, the original power switch? And he said, oh no, actually I pulled it out of my case and it was working fine in my custom gaming PC case. I'm like, okay, well in that case, it's gonna boot up fine just off a normal shorting some pins. And then he said, oh, my mate hooked it up for me and I don't remember and all this stuff. And I'm like, here's the dodgy story coming on again. Basically, I think this motherboard is just a dud. It doesn't work. So I just said to him, like last night when I was there talking to him, I said, like literally, I'm like, if this board doesn't work, just let me know now. Because it was the parents of the guy who sold it. I'm like, let me know now so I can just not waste my time. But the parents just said, look, take it back, bring it back if it doesn't work. But it's just, yeah, it's just the youngins. I always find a lot of the real youngins, they just want to sell their crap and they know it doesn't work. Unless, of course, like I could be wrong, there's some special secret way to wire up this front panel connector outside of just shorting a power switch, which I'm not sure about, but I mean, Lenovo doesn't help, that's for sure. Lenovo don't post any of the actual wire outs for this on their website, but if anything, it just looks like the standard Lenovo power switches on these bottom 2 pins right here. That's typically what it is, but if anyone knows exactly what it is, I can try it out. But anyhow, guys, I will get on now. We're gonna go on Marketplace, we're gonna look for some deals, we're gonna see what's crack-a-lackin' and see what we can come back with. And we are starting the next day. It's actually the next night, and we're like almost in the middle of nowhere, but we were looking for deals. The reason I started off actually at night is because I had my friend's birthday the day before, and then the day before that we did the parts hunt. So kind of was looking this morning for deals, and we came across this right here, which was a Ryzen 7 Pro 4750G. Now, they were asking a bit more for this originally. I just said, look, what do you want for this? And then they came back and said 150. I'm like, eh. And they said, look, take it for $100. And I'm like, okay, I'll come and pick that up for 100 Aussie dollars. Now, also they said, would you like any other parts? And I just said, what have you got? And then they said they got an RX 580, but this one did have a kicker involved. They were talking about they couldn't get it to work normally, and it's from a mining bench. They said, look, they've got to flash it. If they flash it, they think they can get it to work. And then I said to them when I was over there, I just said, how about this for a proposition? I'll get the card back to my studio. If I can get it working, I'll just like send you $50 online, because they wanted $50 for it. And they said, that's fine. So what we're gonna do is when we get back to the studio, we're gonna see if we can flash this RX 580 with just a regular gaming BIOS, see if we can get it to boot up as normal and run some benchmarks. So there's that right there. However, in terms of other deals, I did put some feelers out there. I did find a CPU, motherboard, and RAM combo, but I do have to go pick it up, and it's actually like, we're going down the map, we're going south. The place was like pretty far up north, and I'm gonna go pick that up another day, because actually I will use that combo for the $100 flip up challenge. That's actually gonna be a pretty good deal. I just haven't picked it up yet. But then there was like a motherboard, a B560, I offered them $100. They said $140. I'm just like, they've been sitting on this thing for 2 months. And I'm like, yeah, they'll eventually take $100 for it, but it's just not today, I guess. However, some other good news, we took that motherboard back that I couldn't get to boot at all, and they were happy to just give us my money back. So pretty happy about that, considering I guess if people just allow you to get a refund, it just shows that they're honest. So yeah, that motherboard was just, I think it was toast, to be honest. Anyhow, let's get back and see if we can get this graphics card flashed, and also talk about the used market in general. Okay, it is now the next morning. I actually got home and I just started watching that Drive to Survive F1 series. I actually really enjoy it. So I just decided to have a bit of a break last night and then get back into it this morning with this GPU right here. Now, going forward, all I'm gonna say is that RX 580s, 480s, 470s, 570s, this class of card, I've never come into the history of used graphics cards, never come into a class of card that has higher failure rates than this right here. It's just on another league. These cards, I just find they fail a lot. Now, of course, they were one of the most popular cards for crypto miners, so I'm guessing that has a big reason to do with it. But this card right here, the guy was like, you know, you should be able to get it to work. It had a mining BIOS on it before. Just reflash a gaming V-BIOS and you should be fine. And he was pretty certain it would work. So we put the card in on its own, B2 error, and then we put in another graphics card as the main GPU, and then you can get into Windows and you can flash on a new V-BIOS. Did that, didn't work again, and then even tried an RX 480 BIOS, a V-BIOS with lower clocks on both memory and core, and it still doesn't work. And so that's the procedure. It takes me not too long now to get to the bottom of it, and this card just simply doesn't work, even though it's a nice looking card. And so that to me is just saving me $50. I now messaged the guy and said, dude, this card's a goner. Like, yeah. And so going forward, I actually think I just stumbled on a new meta for this class of card, and that is I have to verify it working now in a PC before I'm going to pay for this class of card, because you guys saw in the flip up challenge I had another dud one of these come in, so that's pretty much 2 of these cards in a row that have just failed. And the good thing about this one is I didn't pay for it, and I'm not going to pay for it. So if the guy was really nice, if he wants to come and pick it up, he can definitely come and pick it up. I'm just couldn't be bothered with it, waste of time. So that is where we're at right now. And the final piece of the puzzle is the 4750G, which we actually had to bend a couple of pins back, but it's working absolutely fine. So that is the finale of February's used PC parts hunt of the month. Let's wrap this up and also throw a price tally up on the screen for you guys of all the prices we paid, as well as all the deals that we got here. Do let us know in the comment section below, what was your favorite deal of the month? Love reading your thoughts and opinions as always. And have you been getting bargains lately off the used market? If so, what bargains are you getting? But with that aside, let's turn around now to some commentary on the used market and some guidance going forward. So going forward, I am really happy coming out of this particular parts hunt because I needed to restock GPUs after Christmas. We were really low, and last month we didn't get a whole lot, but this month we have just completely nailed it. Restocked GPUs at the right price because the used market is pretty good right now if you're a buyer. If you're a seller, it's, for me personally, I'm just having a really tough time still. Tonight, I will be dropping off a PC. Someone's put in an offer over asking for me to drop it off. And when that comes along, I'm like, yep, I'm coming. What's the address? I'll be there. So that's kind of what it's like now. If you're a seller, any inquiries into your products, you're just jumping on it and being like, yes, can I even cook your breakfast with that? That's the kind of market that we're in right now. But if you're buying, as we're seeing right here, it's a really good time. And I think the deals are, of course, just like always, as we saw with some of the other deals that I put offers on, some of the things are overpriced on the used market. Some people don't want to budge. But if we look at the dates on when some of the people listed these items, it's over 2 months and they've been sitting on it at the same price. I'm pretty sure they just get no inquiries. And then after a while, they will eventually lower the price and someone will offer what I've offered if they don't come back to me, and they'll basically get what that price is, because that's just pretty much what it's worth on the used market. And as we see with those dates, some of this stuff has been listed over 2 months ago, so it's just been sitting there and they're asking too much. So at the moment, if you are in a used market, there's no good deals around you, and there were previously good deals around you. I would say it's only a matter of time before there'll be more good deals popping up. Do not fear. The economic conditions right now have it so that it will be, and it is already, at least where I am now, a buyer's market. The finance video is coming. I will update that. I just had a bit of a blowout on the weekend, just my friend's 40th birthday, so went pretty hard, and yeah, getting back into it now. But basically what we're seeing right now is that roller coaster in global monetary conditions where things crash, and then quickly the government will come back in, put the printers on again, pump it up, mad inflation come through. It's actually getting more sensitive, and the time constraint here is running out, where you can see with this, at least with this federal debt in the US. One graph in particular, my favorite at the moment, is this just shows what exactly is happening in these last few years as well as going forward. You can see the federal deficits here, and you can also see another trend of government spending being more than it's ever been in the history of Western economies. So what this means is, we look at this graph here, you can see spending comes in hard, then it conserves off pretty hard, and then relating that back to tech, it just creates this scenario of pretty much hot and cold in terms of demand. And so that's what we're going to see going forward as well. When this line goes too far up and the government doesn't spend as much, then you're going to see deals pop up. And then of course, they'll say, well, finance conditions are so bad right now, we have to turn the printers back on. And then of course, once the printers roll back up again, it's inflation, it's all back on again. And of course, higher prices then come through. And this whole process actually really undermines a really efficient economy. But ultimately, in this roller coaster ride of our fiat currency system, us normal plebs, all we can do is get on a helmet, some really good shoulder pads, buckle into that roller coaster better than anyone else, and just hope we come out better than anyone else on the roller coaster. So hopefully you guys appreciated this little sit down and chat. Do stay tuned for the finance video. Will be coming very soon. And with that aside, if you stayed this far and you're enjoying that Tech Yes content, then be sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and I will see you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.